So the 2021 NFL regular season is done. It's now nut-cutting time, nitty-gritty. It's the playoffs. And your opening weekend, of course, is Wild Card Weekend. But no, it's not. We don't call it Wild Card Weekend anymore. We call it Super Wild Card Weekend. And whatever the hell that's supposed to be. Super Wild Card Weekend. And it is truly encapsulating the whole Martin Luther King holiday weekend, because you've got 2 games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and even 1 on Monday night. And quickly on the Monday night piece, it feels a little odd to have that game be played on Monday, but you know what? Probably not the worst thing in the world to those that are saying, well, it might set up the other team at a disadvantage. You would hope you'd be able to figure out the scheduling of if they play on Monday, that you wouldn't make them play until Sunday. You know, it's not much different than in the past where you would have teams play, you know, either the wild card or divisional round, and they'd have to play on a Sunday and turn around and play on a Saturday. So it's not that incredibly different. But this slate of games, I'll say, there's certainly some intriguing matchups and maybe a couple that look like potential Dudsvilles. But you start off with the Saturday action. We kick off with a game that could be interesting. The Raiders, coming off of last week's thrilling, are you going to tie or are you not going to tie? Battle against the Chargers, traveling to Cincinnati, in a regular season matchup, return matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. These teams, like I'm trying to mention there, and I butchered it so badly, did face off in the regular season. The Bengals won pretty easily, and that was in large part due to Joe Mixon having a big game on the ground. I think he went for like 120, 130 yards and a touchdown or 2. Memory could be failing me, possibly. But as I look at this matchup, you know, the Bengals are favored by 5.5 points here. The Bengals were able to kind of rest last week, which sometimes is good, sometimes is not so good. But, you know, Zach Taylor's done a really good job there. Obviously, that Bengals offense with Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase and Boyd and Higgins, like, this is an offense that can put up some points and they can move the ball. What concerns me a little bit about the Bengals is they took that week off, and this is a team with not really a lot of playoff experience, especially in the notable places. And what you saw to the Bengals sometimes this year was they'd have 1 week where they played really, really well, but then this is a team that would turn around and lose to the Bears or to the Jets. So it's really hard to fully embrace them. For the Raiders, I'll say this, is that they got into the playoffs by the skin of their goddamn teeth, but sometimes that's not the worst thing in the world. Rich Bisaccia, however you say it, sometimes I butcher it, my bad, did well to get these guys to kind of circle the wagons late in the year. They're a bit of a hot team right now, I think, winning their last 4 games in the regular season and, you know, potentially looking for revenge here, trying to prove that they belong in the playoffs. You know, this is a dangerous game for the Bengals. Yes, they have the confidence of beating the Raiders early on in the regular season, but different time, different teams. And when you look at the Raiders, they have nothing to lose. That's a good thing for them. They got in at the last minute. They're the, 6th seed? Like, they've got nothing to lose here. So you could throw all caution to the wind, and you could just balls out go for it. I like the Raiders in this matchup. I like the Raiders and Derek Carr to come out and shock the Bengals in Cincinnati. There's got to be some upsets you would think here. 6 games over 3 days, there's got to at least be one upset. Everything can't hold the form according to the point spread. So I like the Raiders to upset the Bengals plus the 5.5. Moving over to the late Saturday game, you got New England traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. The Bills are 4.5 point favorites. The Bills made it to the AFC Championship game last year. Meanwhile, the Patriots, behind head coach Bill Belichick, rookie quarterback Mac Jones, you know, they're finding themselves in the playoffs. I like the Bills in this matchup. I know they split the regular season series. I like the Bills in this spot, so give me the Bills minus the 4.5. Switching over to the Sunday games, you got the Eagles behind second-year quarterback Jalen Hurts, first-year head coach Nick Sirianni. Quite a nice year for the Eagles. Everything else from here is just gravy. Moving on to play Tampa and the Buccaneers in the wild card round. All the drama of AB behind them. Looking at this Buccaneers team, they're the defending champs. And until somebody beats them, they are still the defending champs. Tampa's an 8.5 point favorite here. If you remember, these two teams played earlier in the regular season, and if I remember correctly, Tampa's defense was pretty dominant early, and then the Eagles did some stuff to kind of hit the backdoor cover, and I think Tampa won like 28-22. this is a spot where you could certainly argue that the toughest, most competitive game that the Buccaneers had in their playoff run to the Super Bowl title last year was actually in that wild card round against the Washington football team. Taylor Heineke gave them some problems. So it wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles stuck a bit of a game to them. But I also look at the Eagles and say, when you look at the teams they actually beat during the season and they win all that, I'll take the Bucs minus the 8.5. You got San Francisco traveling to Dallas to take on the 49ers. For some, they might be envisioning that this is the beginning of the Cowboys making a run to the Super Bowl, and they have a lot of the pieces in place where they could potentially do that. They absolutely do. And with that offense, with some of the playmakers they have on that defensive side of the ball, this is a Dallas team that you got to take seriously. Even though you can look at their positioning and where they got, and you can say they mostly beat up on bad teams throughout the course of the year. But ultimately, they played the teams that they were scheduled and handled business for the most part. Meanwhile, for San Francisco, they slid in, they squeaked into the playoffs, and now you get to watch Jimmy G one more time in a 49ers uniform. Give me the Cowboys minus the 3. And then the late Sunday night game, you've got the Steelers traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Oh, God. We're going to have to hear about Big Ben and his swan song. And, these two teams played in the regular season, and the Chiefs disposed of them pretty handily. I see no reason why this would be any different here. Unless you have some major COVID outbreak or something and several key players from the Chiefs aren't there, give me the Chiefs minus the 12.5 all damn day long. And then you get to the Monday night matchup, and you get two teams that on the surface you could look at and say you could see them making a run in the playoffs, but two teams you also point to and you say, I don't know if I could really buy them. I don't know if I agree that they're a real player here, and that's the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams. Because what did the Cardinals start the season, like 7-0? Something like that? And finished 11-6, so they went 4-6 in their last 10 games? Like, that's not a good trajectory to be on heading into the playoffs. And then for the Rams, they were up 17-0 last week against the 49ers, and the 49ers came back and ultimately beat them. And that's not a good sign for a team that has went all in. Like, they pushed all their chips in to say, now is the time, you got to go for it. And you have as many questions as you do answers for this team right now. And it's hard to know, like, how's Kyler Murray going to do in the spotlight of the playoffs on Monday night in prime time? How's Matthew Stafford going to do in the spotlight of Monday night in prime time of the playoffs? I don't know. I look at this, and, these teams split the season series. The Rams got their ass kicked the first time, and then they beat the Cardinals the second time around. I like the Rams in this spot, probably because I've been waiting all year to say that the Cardinals weren't for real. And I'm just looking for confirmation bias and to validate what I've been thinking for months. But the Cardinals don't come into this game in a good spot. Although, to be fair to them, I don't think the Rams come in a particularly great spot either. The Rams don't even really have a home field advantage here. As the LA fans, it'll be as many Cardinals fans as it'll be Rams fans. So, yeah, hopefully it'll be a fun one. Like, if I look at the games that are most likely to be really good, Raiders and Cincinnati could be very, very good. New England, Buffalo, maybe. Philly and Tampa could either be a washout or could be very, very interesting. San Francisco, Dallas could be good. We all probably think that KC and Pittsburgh is going to be a bit of a shit fest. But this Rams-Cardinals game could be exciting on Monday night. We'll see what happens there. But as always, you're welcome to go against me. Tell me your picks for the wild card round. For those of you that are wondering my Super Bowl picks right now, I guess I'm going to have to say something. It's probably going to be Bills and Packers. With the Packers beating the Bills in the Super Bowl and Aaron Rodgers winning Super Bowl MVP, something like 28-19 or 18 or some bullshit like that. Like, if you had to hold me down right now and say, what's my Super Bowl pick, with very little thought of it, like, my vibe is the Green Bay Packers. It has been for a couple of months coming out of the NFC. And then for the AFC, still a lot of people high on the Chiefs, even though they didn't get the 1 seed. And you have some people that are certainly high on the Tennessee Titans, especially because they got the number 1 seed and didn't have Derrick Henry for a good portion of the season. But I think the Bills are lurking, and they're under the radar. And as long as they get past Belichick in that opening round, like, the Bills could beat anybody in that conference. I truly believe that. So if you're wondering my Super Bowl picks, there you go.